What happens when the world's most famous royal family is hit by tragedy again, and again, and again? Behind the glittering ceremonies, royal weddings, and balcony appearances lies a very different story. One filled with heartbreak, scandal, divorce, and devastating loss. From Princess Diana's tragic death to the collapse of royal marriages and the personal grief endured by Queen Elizabeth II, the British monarchy has survived crises that could have destroyed almost any institution. Yet somehow, it endured. For more than 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II stood at the center of British public life. To millions, she symbolized stability, duty, and continuity. But her reign was far from easy. Throughout her lifetime, she faced family scandals, painful divorces, public criticism, and the deaths of some of the people she loved most. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at the tragedies that shook the British royal family and how Queen Elizabeth II guided the monarchy through some of its darkest moments. Let's get into it. A queen forged by loss. When King George VI died unexpectedly in 1952, the British monarchy changed forever. His young daughter, Princess Elizabeth, suddenly became Queen Elizabeth II. The transition was dramatic. A woman in her 20s found herself carrying the weight of an ancient institution on her shoulders. What followed would become one of the longest and most remarkable reigns in world history. But from the very beginning, tragedy was never far away. The Queen understood something that defined her entire life. Personal feelings often had to be placed behind public duty. That principle would be tested repeatedly over the decades to come. And nowhere would those challenges become more visible than within her own family. The royal marriages begin to crumble. The first major crack appeared in the marriage of Princess Anne. When Anne married Captain Mark Phillips in 1973, the wedding was celebrated across Britain. Millions watched as the Queen's only daughter began what appeared to be a fairy tale life. Soon, the couple welcomed children and built a family together. But behind the scenes, the pressures of royal life were growing. Long periods apart, increasing responsibilities, and personal differences slowly pushed the couple away from one another. Rumors of affairs emerged on both sides. Public speculation intensified. By the late 1980s, it had become increasingly obvious that the marriage was struggling. Eventually, the couple separated before formally divorcing in 1992. For the Queen, this was deeply painful. Not only was she head of state, but she was also head of the Church of England, a role that traditionally viewed divorce with great concern. Unfortunately, this would only be the beginning. Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew. The next royal marriage to face serious difficulties was that of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. At first, they seemed perfectly matched. Sarah's humor, warmth, and love of horses quickly won over the royal family. Their 1986 wedding captured public imagination, and the arrival of daughters Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie appeared to complete the picture of a happy family. But reality was more complicated. Andrew's naval career kept him away from home for long periods. In some years, the couple reportedly spent only a few weeks together. Distance gradually took its toll. Then came scandal. Photographs involving Sarah and an American businessman exploded across newspaper front pages and generated enormous public attention. The damage was severe. By 1992, Andrew and Sarah had separated. 4 years later, they officially divorced. Yet unlike many royal breakups, their story remained unusual. Despite ending their marriage, the pair continued to maintain a close relationship and remained united in raising their daughters. For Queen Elizabeth, however, another family marriage had fallen apart, and an even larger crisis was about to unfold. Charles, Diana, and the marriage that changed everything. No royal relationship has attracted more attention than that of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. When they became engaged in 1981, the world celebrated. The wedding was watched by hundreds of millions of people and was hailed as a modern fairy tale. But appearances can be deceptive. Charles and Diana were very different people. There was a significant age gap. Their life experiences were vastly different. And many close to the couple reportedly questioned whether the relationship would truly work. Despite these concerns, they married and later welcomed Prince William and Prince Harry. To the public, they appeared to be the perfect royal family. Privately, however, tensions were mounting. As years passed, emotional distance grew. Both Charles and Diana sought affection elsewhere. Their marriage became one of the most scrutinized relationships in modern history. By December 1992, the separation was officially announced. The news sent shockwaves through Britain. For the monarchy, it was a public relations disaster. And for Queen Elizabeth, it represented another painful family breakdown. Eventually, in 1996, Charles and Diana finalized their divorce. Few realized that an even greater tragedy was just around the corner: the death of Princess Diana. August 31st, 1997. A date forever etched into history. Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris at just 36 years old. The news stunned the world. Millions woke up to headlines they could scarcely believe. Flowers piled up outside royal residences. People openly wept in the streets. Across Britain and far beyond, there was a profound sense of collective grief. Diana had become much more than a princess. She connected with ordinary people in a way few royals ever had. She comforted the sick. She championed charitable causes. She brought humanity to the monarchy. Yet in the days immediately following her death, the royal family faced fierce criticism. Many believed the Queen was remaining too silent. In reality, Queen Elizabeth was focused on protecting her grieving grandsons, William and Harry, who were staying with the family in Scotland. Recognizing public concern, she returned to London and delivered one of the most emotional speeches of her reign. She spoke not only as a monarch, but as a grandmother. It became a defining moment. And when billions watched Diana's funeral, the nation mourned together. The monarchy survived the crisis, but it would never be quite the same again, losing the family she loved most. The early 2000s brought a new series of personal losses for Queen Elizabeth. First came the death of her beloved sister, Princess Margaret, in 2002. The two sisters had shared a unique bond that stretched back to childhood. Margaret was one of the few people who truly understood the pressures of royal life. Her passing was devastating. Observers even noticed the Queen wiping away a tear at Margaret's funeral, an extremely rare public display of emotion. Just weeks later, tragedy struck again. The Queen Mother died at the age of 101. For decades, she had been a source of support and guidance. The Queen Mother had helped Elizabeth navigate some of the most difficult moments of her reign. Losing both her sister and her mother within weeks of one another left an enormous emotional void. Yet once again, Queen Elizabeth continued performing her duties. It was what she had always done. The loss of Prince Philip. If there was one constant throughout Elizabeth's life, it was Prince Philip. Their marriage lasted an extraordinary 73 years. He was not only her husband, but also her closest confidant. The Queen famously described him as her strength and stay. Together, they faced political upheaval, family challenges, and enormous public scrutiny. Then, in April 2021, Prince Philip passed away. The image of the Queen sitting alone during his funeral became one of the defining photographs of that era. Many saw a monarch who had spent a lifetime supporting others, now confronting profound personal loss. Those close to her said she endured the grief with characteristic dignity. But there is little doubt that losing Philip was among the greatest sorrows of her life. The end of the Elizabethan era. Then came the moment many people never imagined they would see. On September 8, 2022, Queen Elizabeth II died. For most Britons, she had been the only monarch they had ever known. Her reign had lasted 70 years. Generations grew up with her as a constant presence. The reaction was immediate and extraordinary. Across Britain and around the world, people gathered to pay tribute. Millions watched as ceremonies unfolded. World leaders, foreign royals, and ordinary citizens joined together in remembrance. When her coffin traveled through London and later to Windsor, crowds lined the streets for miles. It was more than the death of a monarch. For many, it felt like the end of an entire era. At Windsor, Queen Elizabeth II was laid to rest alongside Prince Philip, her parents, and Princess Margaret. After a lifetime of service, her journey was complete. The story of Queen Elizabeth II is not simply a story about royalty. It's a story about resilience. Through scandals, divorces, public criticism, and heartbreaking personal losses, she remained committed to duty until the very end. Whether you're a supporter of the monarchy or not, it's difficult to deny the extraordinary endurance she demonstrated throughout her life. What do you think was the greatest challenge Queen Elizabeth faced during her reign? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into royal history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next fascinating royal story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.